One of the things that small businesses and entrepreneurs struggle with is as their company starts to grow, they need to bring in new talent to help fulfill all of your incoming business. Training that talent can be a struggle and take as much, if not more time, than just doing the work yourself. Well, there is a new learning management system on AppSumo that's designed to help you educate your employees. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at Coassemble and helping you decide whether it's a good investment for your business. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dave from thatltd.life, where I review software tools with lifetime offers. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you get notified when new reviews are posted. Today, we're talking about Coassemble. This deal just went live on AppSumo a few hours ago as of the recording of this video. So currently, it is being offered with a $79 lifetime offer that gives you access to their core plan, the Coassemble's core plan. I do like when deals map directly to one of their existing pricing options. That usually guarantees that they're not going to segment you away from additional features. Sometimes offers will include a special AppSumo plan, which might not include any additional features. However, this does include all future updates, and you're going to get up to 100 monthly active users. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, this is designed to help you educate your employees. So you could have 100 different employees accessing your material per month. That should be enough for almost any size business. And if you have more than that, you probably should just build something in-house because that's a pretty large company. Okay, so let's actually take a look. Before we get into the tool, let's look at the Coassemble pricing plans here just to kind of get an idea. Now, if we did build monthly, you can see that this core plan is $199 a month or annually $149. It includes their lightweight LMS. So I don't know whether the Pro plan has a more sophisticated LMS, but the naming here certainly kind of seems like maybe they add extra features into the Pro plan. There's no way to stack up to this. You just literally be upgrading from a $79 lifetime deal to a $600 monthly plan. So that is much more substantial. This is for people with 250 monthly active users. So very large companies. One thing I'll mention, I was kind of making fun a little bit of Ali AI in a previous video because they had some testimonials without any, they actually had the carousel of logos. I don't think Coassemble has that. They had a carousel of logos, but then none of their testimonials, so like this, right? This is a carousel of logos. None of their testimonials corresponded with those companies. And here, at least you can see that, someone from Coca-Cola, it says their senior sales capability manager actually gave them a testimonial. So, we're off, and they got some awards that they've won down here. This sort of social proof is something that, I know is important as a marketer. I try to include it on my clients' websites, but it also matters to me as a customer. I want to see some validation that this business actually has things together, right? That they've got users, they have a plan for growth. If I'm going to invest in a lifetime deal, I need to make sure that this company is going to be around in the future. So let's get into it. Here is a Coassemble account. I was actually just checking out their integrations, but let's head back to the dashboard and I'll kind of show you how this all works. So once you sign up for an account, you'll be onboarded to a screen like this. These are your courses. So you can create new courses. By default, they give me this onboarding course, but why don't we go ahead together and create our first course? So I'll just hit the plus button right here and I'll call this, we're actually just onboarding a new copywriter right now to help me beef up this website for thatltd.life. So I'll kind of pretend like I'm making a course to help the copywriter take these videos that I'm making right now and translate them into written articles for the website. So I'll call this Create Articles from Video, and I'll hit Create right here. So I have a new course. It's taking me right inside. And what I need to do to begin with is I can change the name of the course right here if I want. I could create a course image. Let's just hit Add Image here and I'll be able to upload an image, or I could sync up to my Google Drive. For now, why don't I actually just try dragging in an image from one of the thumbnails here. This is one of the most recent photos. Okay, so right off the bat, it does not let me drag and drop the photo. That's something I actually always test because those little things are important to me in software. I want to be able to drag and drop, especially when it looks like it's kind of like a spot where they want you to drop it, but that didn't work. So I'll hit this upload image button and it'll allow me to go into my downloads folder here and I can grab Here's the social bee icon. And now this is kind of interesting. I can somewhat resize this right here, it looks like. There we go. Looks like that is the aspect ratio that it's expecting, and I can't really, deviate from that very much. I can zoom in or zoom out with this little slider. Just, off of the cuff, kind of my gut reaction to this is kind of a weird interface for editing images. It just doesn't seem like it's fully fleshed out. I can see the preview of what it'll look like afterwards. So I can move this around here and it kind of updates. So I've definitely encountered many different ways to do this kind of resizing and cropping in the future. And this is one of the more peculiar ones that I've ever come across. So let's see, if, as I move this slider here, it doesn't seem to actually zoom. It kind of always goes back to that default, and it might be related to the size, but there you go. That's it for the image. You might want to just make sure you upload it in the proper aspect ratio. Let's see if I click the need help, if it'll tell me the aspect ratio. No, it's just opening up a video here to teach me how to do it. Okay, so nowhere does it mention the actual dimensions that they want, but it looks like it's probably, oh, here it is resizing now, but it doesn't update that in the post. Looks like it's probably 640 by 480, guessing on the dimensions that it's choosing, but I'm not totally sure. So let's go ahead and save this and move on from here. So now I've got a course image and the course videos right here. I could add a video. Now what it wants me to do for videos is just to link up to a URL. Now it does connect to Vimeo or YouTube. So you can always share your videos on YouTube for free and then just link them up over inside of Coassemble. However, obviously YouTube videos can be easily shared even if they're marked unlisted so that no one can find them through search. If you're trying to keep your training materials private, that is definitely something you want to keep in mind. Vimeo, you're probably going to need to use a paid service, a paid version of Vimeo. I think their free account is only a small amount of data, like 5 gigabytes or something. So if you're uploading a lot of video, you'll probably hit that ceiling pretty quickly. You know what I'm interested to find out is, does this work with VooPlayer? Because that is a lifetime deal from AppSumo. So it'd be good to know if I can use a VooPlayer video. Let me go ahead and find a VooPlayer URL and I'll link that up. I'm actually testing out their Chrome extension here. So getting a URL is fairly easy for me. This is part of a new training course that I am using. So there we go. I've got that video URL. Let me paste that in and see how it does. It did. It pulled in VooPlayer. So that is good news for all of us AppSumo addicts. All right, course overview. I could type in something here. This is the course overview. This course will teach you to convert videos into articles. All right. And it looks like I should be able to scroll here, but that's kind of the end of the user interface. Okay, so just noticing some small things, like, this box is getting cut off. I can't scroll down any further. Just the fit and finish here. Everything's working fine so far. I'm not trying to be uber picky. It just, those are little signals to me, like, why do they have numbers here? Those must be the character counts. Okay, that's interesting. All right, I'll go ahead and hit save. Now I've got my overview set up. The next thing I'm gonna need to do is to add some modules. So that would be in this next section. Now module is basically going to be a lesson. So I'll go ahead and hit add new module. The types of modules we can create are quizzes, documents, videos, external links, and then I can also duplicate existing modules or add existing modules. I assume that is from another course, although I'm not certain here. So let's find out what it's like to add a document to begin. And it just looks like it wants me to drag and drop a file here. Now I do know that you can upload like Excel, PowerPoint documents right inside of Coassemble, and it will show them inline. You can also upload PDFs and things like that. So let me go ahead and find a PDF that I am able to share with everyone here. All right, I've got a PDF. This is our policies and expectations for new remote workers here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and call this policies and expectations. And I can either display this inline or as a download. Let's see what it looks like inline so we can actually get a feel for what this will look like here. All right, great. So that would essentially be the first module of the course, right? So we can see this is number 1. If I go over here, I could remove it. I assume that's what this will do. It says you're gonna delete this. Nope, I don't wanna do that right now. I can preview it. Let's see what this module looks like. So here we got our overview. This is that image that we uploaded. I can watch the course video right here. That looks nice. I can go ahead and start the course. Really, as I'm using this, so here is the PDF. You can see that inside of the browser window just fine. I wonder if there's still a download link on that. Let me go ahead and check it out. So let's go back to that policies and expectations. And see, I can open it up in a new browser window, and from here I'd be able to download it. Okay, so even though it's displayed inline, I can still download it. That's important to note. Now, really what I'm thinking as I'm going through this is essentially just an LMS, right? This is not a whole lot different than something like Teachable or, even just self-hosting with a service like LearnDash. So right out of the gates, it seems fairly simple and intuitive to use. Reminds me a bit of the Fleek learning management system in that it's not really geared towards sales, although there is a Shopify integration, so you can actually sell access to your courses that you create. It's not really geared towards that. It's meant more to be a training tool. But there's really no reason that you couldn't train people. Let's say I wanted to train someone how to create articles from a video that wasn't an employee. I could possibly sell access to my course here, and then they'd be learning a skill right inside of my Coassemble without actually being an employee. So that's an interesting possibility to look at here. All right, let's close out this preview and go back to our course. Let's look at some of the other modules we can add. Of course, we can add a video. That's going to look a lot like what we added in the intro here, where you can just grab your VooPlayer link, your YouTube link, and post it right in here, give it a title and a description. In fact, this is an identical interface, so I won't add another video right now. And let's go ahead and see what the external link looks like. Let's just call this client amp, and I'll put the website here. All right, and hit open. I'm not able to give a description or anything right here. It just looks like it's gonna go ahead and link up to it. I would like to be able to say, here is a link to this resource on our website. That seems like it would be a little bit more usable. I suppose the alternative to that would be to create a PDF with the description and the link right in it, and I could embed it as a document. Although, I'm using this tool to make my life easier, not to have to do more work. So each one of this, I actually read some criticism of this deal before I began using it. And one of the criticisms was you can only attach one document per lesson. Well, you just would create multiple modules for each document. So I can kind of see that idea, right? It's not like you can only attach one document per course. I could easily create another document on this particular course, but there's no real way to, once I'm previewing the actual course, there's no way to say have this one module contain 5 or 6 different documents inside of it, which in my opinion, you don't really need to. However, it would be nice if there was some nesting involved. So maybe have modules that contained several lessons, right? So I could have, my module on starting to transcribe the video. And then, our lessons would be, creating closed captions, things like that. And then the next one would be writing for SEO and, the process that you're going to go through to make sure that the language you're using is compatible with search engines. And that would be a different module. So only having a series of lessons and no real way to nest them is definitely something that pulls this tool, down a tier from something like a Teachable or using LearnDash. LearnDash actually has several different, I think it has 3 tiers because you have modules, or what do they call them? They call them topics, modules and lessons, something like that. I forget off the top of my head. Okay, so we haven't really changed much from the preview here. I've just added this external link, and when I click that, it just has a link to go to the link. I would like the option to describe this link. I suppose I could put that in the title, but it'd be nice to have some subtext here. So all in all, this is functioning really nicely. It's fast, it's snappy. It's just a little bit immature, in my opinion. It'd be really cool to see where this company is in a year in terms of being able to add new features. Okay, let's see what other modules we have to add here. We've done external link, we've done videos. Let's create a quiz. All right, test your knowledge. I'll call this quiz. And let's see what this looks like as I begin to edit the quiz. So opening the quiz took me like 3 or 4 clicks. It just didn't go right away, which is interesting. All right, so right now it says publish your changes to live version. All right, let's start adding some questions. I can select any of these different types of questions. Now, I'm not gonna have time to go through all of them here. There's actually quite a few different types of questions. We have multiple choice, true, false, input, drag ticks. Let's check out what that is. I have no idea what that is. Drag to the correct tick. All right, let's add some answers. Tick 1, add another one. Tick 2. I wonder if I can hit enter to add another one. Nope, I cannot. I have to go ahead and click. Just looking for shortcuts, ways you can make using these platforms a little bit faster. And I will make tick number 3 the correct answer. And let's see the options. Create a pool from the available answers. Okay, so this is really cool. Something some of my clients have actually asked me to create inside of LearnDash is that you having the ability to create a question pool so that people can go and take quizzes over and over again with getting multiple answers. So it says by default, all answers to this question will be displayed. Instead, enable this feature and Coassemble will randomly select from the available answers each time the question is presented to the student, making it harder. Oh, I see. Not at all what I thought it was. It's actually just letting you not display all of the answers at once, kind of varying. Maybe you have a 4. Is this just a multiple choice question? First of all, let's find that out. Let's go ahead and preview this question. Now, it said something about dragging. This just looks like it's multiple choice. So, oh, okay, I'm supposed to drag to the correct. Interesting. I don't know why this is anything different than just a multiple choice question. Or maybe I'm understanding it wrong. I'm going to reload and try this again. So here is the tick mark, and I'm supposed to drag it to the correct answer, I guess. Why not just check it? That's a little bit weird. Again, kind of reinventing the wheel here. We know how checkboxes work, how multiple choice questions work. So that takes me back to my thoughts on this right here is basically what this option is at the end is to say you want to have 4 answers displayed, but there could be a total of maybe 5 or 6 possible answers. If you turn on this pool, it will only display 4 answers at once, but it will make the quiz more difficult. It will make cheating harder because people will be shown different possible answers. All right, so there is that. What other questions do we have here? I wonder what the difference is between multiple choice and drag ticks. I suppose there could be more than one right answer with drag ticks. True and false, drag multiple, match corresponding, match sequence, drop down, multiple image choice, and drag and drop. Okay, so you can probably get an idea of what most of those questions will look like. I'll just choose one more to kind of, check it out. Let's try this drag and drop. Drag, and let's go ahead and add an answer. I can also add an image here if I wanted to. I'm not going to bother with that for right now. Let's go ahead and add another answer here. You can see you have that pool option for this as well. I'm not sure exactly what they want me to do. Let's see what the question creation process is a little bit more confusing than I expected, honestly. Let's go ahead and check this one out. I'm going to go back to my preview screen here. All right, so we'll have to do our first question, which was, I think, answer number 2. Like this one, and I'll drag and drop. I'm supposed to connect these. I don't honestly know what I'm supposed to do with this question. That's pretty weird. So I can't move them around at all. There's no explanation for what I need to do here. There's a question, so let's actually ask a question here. What is the best color? And here are my answers. These are to remove the answers. So I'll say blue, green. Let's add one more. How do I choose which one is correct? I'm not seeing that in this particular option. So, I've got this. What's this little gear do? Nothing. All right. So I can create a pool from the answers. Man, I don't think they finished creating this, to be honest. I don't think they finished developing this type of question. It says I have duplicate answers. I don't know why it's saying that. All right, I deleted 2 of the answers, and it let me save the question. Man, that's a weird type of question. Okay, so the quiz creation, needs a little bit of help. It looks like they have maybe some guidance over here on what this is. Let me click on that. Oh, I can just drag, what is this? All right, I can drag in a new question right here, so I don't have to go through the add new question, and it just opens that dialog box. So that's nice. I like that. Let's see, collaborate right here is to choose collaborators, so you can add new users to the workspace and have them work on creating the quiz with you. We have some settings over here where I can add how many attempts people can take on the quiz, what they do when they reattempt, whether they're only given the incorrect answers, or they and then whether they can see their previous answers. We got some grading options down here. All right, so that is interesting. Let's go back to the overview and make sure we've hit all of our bases for the article here. We've got a document, a link. There's a video in the overview, and we've got a quiz right here. I have not published the quiz. Let me go ahead and make sure that I do that. I'll hit edit one more time. The quiz is really slow to load for some reason. Everything else is very snappy. I'll go ahead and hit publish right here. It says that the quiz has been published. Great. Let's go back to the modules window. So here's the duplicate module section where I could choose what type of module I want to duplicate. Let's say it was a document. It's going to find all of the documents that I've already created, and then I could select one of them. You see more than one right here because this also has that onboarding course that it set up for me as a demo. All right, so I'm just going to skip this section and assume that the duplication works correctly. So that is how you create a course in Coassemble. There are some more features to take a look at, and right over here, this is where you set up your users, this little, these two people over on the side. Let's load that up. Now I'm noticing that the whole platform is starting to slow down maybe a little bit. This could be some AppSumo effect. There's no way to be sure here. So learners, I can add a new student right here. So I could type in, student at clientamp.com. and go ahead, and that learner will be created. And let's see, I can enroll them in a course to begin with. So maybe I want them to join my new course right here. One course selected. Now it's weird that was dark, right? It was like, I didn't look like I could click on it, but I actually could. I think a lot of people at that point would be like, oh, I can't do anything here, and they wouldn't even attempt to click on it. All right, let's hit OK. And I did just get an email. You can see this is what it would look like. This is what, if you onboard a client, they'll see an email that looks like this. It says you've been asked to study a course at ClientAmp, and they can go ahead and hit the sign up button. I'm already logged in, so it'll probably just take me. It does actually take me to a sign up platform, or a sign up page. So that's interesting. All right, let's go back, and that's how basically adding students works. You can see how many are active, how many are pending, and how many are deactivated right here. Then you can also add new teachers. By default, you're going to be created as the trainer. You can add a new trainer. I don't believe there's any limitation on how many trainers you add. Okay, moving on. Let's go to the reports section. Yeah, I will confirm that the whole platform is definitely slowing down. This page just loaded without any content, and it looks like it didn't even style the CSS. So let me go ahead and refresh this. It's still not loading. All right, let's try this again. The reports are not working. So that is definitely not a good thing for this particular review, because I'm gonna have to factor this in to their score, obviously, when a major component isn't working. Let me give it one more shot. No, it is not working. So moving on, down here we have the resource library where I'm supposed to be able to view the quizzes and documents. However, when I click on this, it's saying I have no quizzes found, although I did just publish my first quiz. And it's not letting me see any documents. Let me see if I search for something, whether it comes up. No, I'm not finding any of the resources. In fact, that weird styling is gone. I wonder, let's go ahead and, whoops, I closed that window out. Let me go back into my dashboard here. So I know what happened. When I clicked on that link in the email, it actually signed me out and signed me in as the student that I created. So let's go ahead and rewind this real quickly. And I will go ahead and sign in as the proper administrator account. All right, that's really interesting. Let's head back to the reports, and I bet this is gonna work now. All right, it loaded up just fine this time. Interesting little glitch in their system there. So this is what the reports look like. You can view a report based on URLs, and we don't have any resources to share yet. I bet if I go down to these resources now, I'm going to see everything that I have. I can see the documents and the quizzes, although they're not displaying right at the moment. There they are. Like I mentioned, everything is just a little bit slow to get loaded right now. However, at the beginning of the review, it was coming up very quickly. So in fact, I noticed it was like really snappy, and LMSs can get pretty bogged down and heavy. So that was nice at the beginning. Now it's kind of crumbling on me. And I can share these via URL right here. So I could actually see all of my assets, and I could get a link. Let's see what this looks like. So it looks like I have to toggle this on, and then I can get a link for it. And let's see what the link looks like. I'll open this up in an incognito window. Looks like they're using bit.ly to shorten their URLs. That's an interesting choice. And then people can go right to that course from that bit.ly link. Okay, so that's what that is. I'm gonna definitely turn that off right now. All right, so we've established that the reports are working, the resources are working, although if you sign in as a student, it doesn't give you any sort of error. The resources, basically, we can have this menu pop up on the side. We can view a usage report, which will show you how much you're using the platform. You can view a course report, which will show you how productive the courses have been as a whole with all of the students in them. And then you can also view the learner reports, which will let you look at the activity of a particular student. So as I'm scrolling through here, the page is updating. So here you can see the onboarding course, the default one, has 2 learners enrolled, and they've made it all the way through the course with an average grade of 100%. If I wanted to get more specific information, I could either click on this course, which will take me to essentially the same learner's report, where I could see exactly, what type of activity each person has had. So it's kind of what you'd expect. You can drill down and get more detailed information, or you can view a more high-level approach at how the whole course is progressing. So it depends on what insights you're trying to gather. Is one particular student struggling? Well, maybe they're not putting in the time or completing the lessons. Is one course as a whole very difficult for people to complete? Well, maybe there's some difficult lessons that are causing people to hit roadblocks and not progress any further. So you'd be able to check out the analytics there. Very important for creating a good educational experience. So I'm glad to see that these reports exist and that they're working, most importantly. All right, so that is gonna move us along to one of the last sections down here. We can set up some course notifications so that facilitators or learners get notified as they progress through courses. So you can see here notifications include things like being enrolled or removed from a course or an assignment being graded. You can also be notified as a teacher when someone starts your course. So that's good to know that there's options to enable that. Here is the plan and the billing, where you'd be able to switch your plan or enter your billing information. More importantly, we have customizations or integrations where you can see you can actually sell access to your courses via Shopify. Now remember, you're limited to 100 users per month, and I don't really know what happens after that 100 users is reached. So if you sold, say, 1,000 copies of a course and only 100 people used it per month, you'd be okay. But what if one month 101 people try to access the course? I don't know how that would work. You can do some certification here using any one of these platforms, the simplest being like a Gmail and a Google Slide to fire off an email when someone completes a course. You can also do some enrollment options, which are interesting, either using Paperform, which is a previous LTD on AppSumo, or just plain old Google Sheets. Have someone fill out a form, and once they've completed the form, they're automatically added into your course. I think that's a nice feature. All of this goes through Zapier, I should mention. This is not direct integration, so you have to have a Zapier account. Then we got some mailing list integrations, whether you're using GoToWebinar or MailChimp. You can have people register for courses directly via your forms or your integrations with MailChimp and GoToWebinar. So that is it for the integrations. What other features are there down here? We can add logos and company colors. Let's see what this looks like. There's a little trainer video to teach me. I think I can probably figure this out. So you can see here I have a host name. This is a subdomain on their primary account. There is no CNAME, no way to change this to be like learning@clientamp.com. You're stuck with their subdomain. But I can go over here to logos and I can upload a custom logo in the background and a menu color right here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to find my Client Amp logo quickly. All right, I've uploaded my logo. Now it looks like it's not letting me grab the entire thing here. Let's try this crop tool again. All right, there we go. Looks like it's gonna work just fine for me to grab the entire thing. And I could zoom in. You see if the zoom function works here. No, it's kind of just jumping back on me as well there. So that's interesting that they have that zoom feature, but it doesn't seem to function in any way that I can make sense of. I can change the top menu color here. You can see I probably would want to leave this just white, but the option is there to change it. Maybe I'll make it kind of a little bit darker white, grayish type of color. Go ahead and hit save, and we'll see if this updates right up here. Looks like it's loading in the corner. If we go back to the dashboard, I'll see the logo up here. There we go. It has been customized a little bit. I've got a notification bell here where I can see any of those notifications that I would have set up down here in the corner. All right, so I think we've hit all of the features here. Let's give it some final thought. All right, I admit I was a little bit worried halfway through this review when I couldn't access the reports section and the resources sharing wasn't loading for me. I thought, uh-oh, this thing is really half-baked. Turns out it was a little bit their fault, a little bit my fault. Clicking on that link in the email logged me out of my account, and that was probably silly of me to do while I was still logged in. However, it did leave me in the same dashboard. It didn't give me any notification that I had logged out. So hopefully they can tighten up that little bug so no one else suffers that fate. Imagine if you're working in a company, maybe you have one computer that's meant for training. People come in and use that. It's definitely a possibility that other people could encounter that in the future. All right, so final thoughts on this? Well, I know there's gonna be critics out there. They're going to say, why don't you just use WordPress, install a LMS like, I've got a review coming out actually for a new LMS that's on LTD called Tutor LMS. There's also LearnDash and Lifter LMS, all these other platforms, and I use these on a daily basis. I'm very familiar with them. They're all hard to use. This, Coassemble, is actually fairly simple. I'm able to create a course with videos and articles and links, something that I could teach a non-techie to do very, very quickly. Shout out to WP Crafter there. I didn't mean to drop the non-techie term. But, in this channel, I'm not worried about necessarily working with people who are not very technical in nature, because I think, more and more people are becoming technical, and we're asking people to do more and more difficult things. However, sometimes you just want something created quickly, and this is a viable option for that. It's got room for growth for sure, and it's a little slow as we've seen, but I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that that's an influx of new AppSumo customers bombarding their system, and hopefully things speed up in the long term. So all of this said, this one is gonna get a very specific 7.1 score. It's a good tool. If you need something fast, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it. However, it's certainly not going to be the platform that I go to create a $1 million course that I'm going to sell 100,000 copies of, right? It's just not designed for that. It's meant to train your employees. If this review has been helpful to you and you are going to go on to make a purchase, please do me a favor and click the link in the description. That is the referral link for this channel, which kicks us back a few bucks over here and lets us invest in making better and better LTD reviews for you guys so that you don't have to waste time struggling through half-baked software and you get only the good stuff. Now, I want to know, what LMS are you using? Do you have a solution to train your employees already? I've actually been thinking a lot about this and kind of getting a subdomain together to train people using LearnDash. So this came at a peculiar time for me. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. So let me know. Let's have a conversation. Leave me a comment down below on YouTube, and I'll see you in the next review.